Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. Family Plot is a 1976 American black comedy thriller that was directed by Alfred Hitchcock in his final directing role. The movie is based on a book by Victor Canning from 1972 called The Rainbird Pattern. The production stars Karen Black, Bruce Dern, Barbara Harris, and William Devane. The storyline goes that fake medium Madame Blanche and her taxi driver boyfriend George make a living by scamming people with her phony powers. They are hired by an aging widow named Julia Rainbird to find her nephew who was given away for adoption many years earlier, all this done to avoid a family scandal. Meanwhile, an extremely clever couple, diamond merchant Arthur Adamson and his attractive girlfriend Fran, are behind a series of kidnappings of various VIPs in the San Francisco area. These two couples' paths end up crossing and chaos results. After this film was completed, Alfred Hitchcock worked on the script for the spy thriller The Short Night, but he never got to direct it due to his ailing health, and it went on to not ever be made by anybody. Had he ended up making that movie, it would have been his 54th film. He wasn't well during the shooting of this movie either. He called this film a melodrama treated with a bit of levity and sophistication. Normally, his films are known for famous landmarks being placed in them. Places like Mount Rushmore in North by Northwest from 1959 and the Statue of Liberty in Saboteur from 1942. He apparently decided to leave this movie location as unspecified, without any recognizable landmarks in it. The entire production was filmed in LA and San Francisco. The casting for this movie was all over the place. Originally, Roy Thinnis was hired to play the part of Arthur. This was because his first choice, William Devane, was unavailable. When Devane became available, Hitchcock fired Thinnis and hired Devane. Some key scenes and publicity stills had already been shot. Almost everything that had been filmed was reshot. But some of the very few long shots in the movie still had Thinnis in the role, and they made it into the final cut of the film. Hitchcock wasn't very happy with his choice of Karen Black in this role. During shooting, he would often hint to co-star William Devane that he would be cutting a lot of her scenes out by making a neck-cutting gesture to him while they were filming. Karen Black initially wanted the role of Blanche, but she ended up getting cast as Fran. And she ends up getting top billing for the film, even though a lot of her scenes were cut, and she has the least amount of screen time for the four leads. During that time in Hollywood, she was a big box office draw. On the heels of her performance in The Great Gatsby, Airport 1975, and The Day of the Locust. Soon after she arrived, newly on the set, Hitchcock asked her to do a scene where she's opening and closing the kitchen cupboards as if she's looking for something. After she did the scene, Black asked if she could redo it again, that she thought she could do it better this time. Hitchcock went ahead and obliged and redid the scene. After she finished, she noticed that Hitchcock hadn't run the camera at all for the second take, and she was completely puzzled by this. She asked him why he did that. He told her that he already had what he wanted, and now she had what she wanted. Black discovered later that scene was needed just for the background sounds in it. At one point during the filming, Steven Spielberg attempted to visit the set of the movie. He wanted to meet Alfred Hitchcock, but Hitchcock refused to see him. He later confided to Bruce Dern, who had tried to convince him to meet Spielberg, but he told him that he couldn't bear to meet the man who made that fish picture. He said that if he looked at him, it would make him feel like such a whore. I'm not really sure what he meant by this comment, but I've seen this on numerous occasions, so it must be something he really said. Hitch's movies have become famous for numerous elements and things that make them iconic, like vertigo-inducing heights, innocent men that are wrongfully accused, blonde bombshells dressed in white, voyeurism, and long non-dialogue sequences. In this movie, he adds one last iconic element to his resume, and that being the woman in black. Karen Black plays a villainous character whose outfit is the antithesis of the blonde dressed in white. Her costume is comprised of a black hat, black dress, large black sunglasses that obscure her face, and a long blonde wig. The menacing character image was noticeable in the movie, and its image dominated in the printed promotional material and the movie posters for the film. At one point during filming, Bruce Stern questioned Alfred Hitchcock about why he was cast in the role. His response to him was, because Mr. Packenow wanted $1 million, and Hitch doesn't pay $1 million. It took Dern a while to realize who he was talking about when he said Packenow. He was talking about Al Pacino, and Hitchcock couldn't say his name. Dern was impressed with Hitchcock's eye. He said he noticed everything: a shadow on a performer's face, a few seconds too long on a take, just little things that nobody else would notice. A lot of times on the set, everybody felt like he had no idea what was going on, and then he would all of a sudden snap to attention with the most incredible awareness of small details, things that nobody would have noticed until it got on the screen. Eventually, the movie finally made it to network television, and they screened it for things that they thought wouldn't be presentable at that time on TV. There is one part that completely slipped past the censoring crews, and that's in the scene where Bruce Stern is trying to be convinced to come inside with Barbara Harris because she's feeling a little frisky at the time and wants some attention. Bruce Stern turns to her and resists this notion and tells her that he's so tired that he's afraid that he's too pooped to pop. This happens so quick in the movie, if you're not listening for it, you don't realize that it went on. But this is something that would have not made it to network television in 1976, and it was edited out later on when it was broadcast again. Take a look back at this last Hitchcock film. It's not a typical Hitchcock movie, and it's not one of his best. It's a good watch, but the casting, I feel, is kind of poor. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.